This is the AQA, Functional Skills Maths Level 1, Specimen practice paper number 2, which means it's a calculator paper. You're allowed to use a calculator and you have an hour and a half to complete this. So in the first question here, it tells us that we want to circle the number that is 5 more than -1. Now if it were a non-calculator one, you might draw a number line, but here they're telling us that we're starting at -1, and more means we're going to add another 5 onto it. And you can do that with a calculator by taking a calculator and typing in -1. So we basically have -1. Oh, let me switch it on. -1 plus 5. And notice I've written exactly on my calculator what matches here. And then you press equals and you'll see that the answer comes out to 4. We now move down to question number 2. And question number 2 is basically changing a fraction to a percentage. Any fraction or decimal, to change it to a percentage, you need to multiply it by 100. So once again, since it's a calculator one, we can just dive in, start with our calculator. So I'm going to put my fraction in, and the fraction is 7 out of 20, and I'm going to multiply that by 100. When you press equals, your answer will come out, and you can see it's 35. So you can just write the answer, it's 35%. Any fraction or any decimal, times it by 100, and you'll get a percentage coming out. The next question tells us we have a rectangle. They've drawn it for us. They tell us this side is 4 centimeters, that side is 9 centimeters, and they want us to work out the perimeter. And perimeter means we need to add all the sides. Now if the top is 9, the bottom is 9. If the left is 4, the right is 4. And so when we do this, we're going to add them all together to get the answer. You get your calculator, 9 plus 4 plus 9 plus 4. Now obviously you could do it in your head if you wanted to, but the calculator will do it for us, and you can see it's 26. So we can say circle 26. Let's move on. We come and we basically have here, and they're asking us to work out the value of 38 squared. Now 38 squared is 38 times 38. Okay. Now the reason I'm doing that is some people have a basic calculator, in which case you would do that with your basic calculator, but my calculator actually has the little squared button, so I can actually write in my case 38 and use the little squared button that puts the 2 there, and so when I press equals I get the answer 1444. But as I said, if you don't have the squared button on your calculator, just do 38 times 38 and you'll get the same answer. Yeah, there you go. 38 times 38, same answer. Question number 5 is a kind of like a memory one, because I say here are some angles and you want to put them in order starting with the smallest one. Now the smallest one there is the acute, so we'll write the acute. Acute is anything up to 90 but not 90. Once it's 90 it becomes a right angle. After right angle it gets a bit bigger, it becomes obtuse, so anything between 90 and 180 is obtuse. You can then get a straight line, but they haven't put the straight line in, which is 180, and anything that's bigger than 180 would be a reflex, the last one that's left there. Now don't get your spelling mixed up, because you can actually look at the spelling there to get it. We're on to question 6, and question 6 is a cuboid one. You can see in the picture we have a cuboid, and they tell us the measurements, and they also put the measurements onto the actual diagram. Sorry about that, let me bring it down so you can see. And it says work out the volume of the cuboid. Now the volume of the cuboid, you take the length times the width times the height. So you can do 7.6 times 2.25 times 5.4. Now it's worthwhile writing that down because it's 2 marks, and so you're showing that you know how to work it out, and then you can put in your calculator 7.6 times 2.25 times 5.4, and we'll end up now, if you have a calculator like mine, it will give you a fraction. You press your SD button and it changes it into a decimal, 92.34. 92.34. So 1 mark to show your workings and the other mark to show your answer. we then move on to question number 7, and they tell us that we have 15 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and we are going to put them into this column. Okay, now frequency means how many, so it tells us that there's two things that are between 1 and 10, and let's see if that's true. There's an 8 and there's a 3, so yes, there were two things. So between 11 and 20, so anything that's between 11 and 20, so we have one thing there that's between 11 and 20. Oh, there's another one there, I nearly missed that. Okay. Oh, 19 is also between 11 and 20. Any others we can see there? There's 17. Any others? No, all the others look to be not there. So how many do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4. Sometimes you have a tally to help you here, but they didn't give us a tally. So now we're going to look for 21 to 30. So anything that's between 21 and 30, so that one is between 21. There's a 30. These are too big. That's too big. That one there is it's between 21 and 30. And so in this case I have 1, 2, 3 things. Okay. So now the rest should be between 31 and 40. So if there's anything left there that's not between 31 and 40, then we're going to be wrong. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things. And when you add these together, we should end up with 15. 6 plus 4 is 10. Plus 3 is 13, 14, 15. So that's correct. 2 marks for getting that correct. We're on to question 8, and question 8 gives us a shape of an L. They've put in some measurements and they've told us to work out the area of this L shape, and we need to put in our units. In other words, is it centimeters, meters, kilometers, etc. Okay, and it's 3 marks. Now for this case, you're going to use the knowledge that you know that any rectangle, if you want to work out the area, you need to know what the base is, and you need to know what the height is, and basically you do base times height, and that will give you the area of the rectangle. And the reason we need that is that here we have a shape that is made up of 2 rectangles. You can see it if I do it like that. You can see there's a rectangle here, there's a rectangle there. Or you could split it this way, and then you would have a rectangle there and one down here. The choice is yours, but you just have to be careful depending on which one you do. I'm going to go straight down today. On another day I might go in a different direction, but today I'm going to just split it there, and then I'm going to focus on that little rectangle there and find out what the base of it is. Well, the base is going to go from here to there, and if the top is 4, the bottom is going to be 4. So the area of the first one is going to be 4 times, what's the height? 2. Now 4 times 2 I can do in my head, but if you can't do that in your head, use a calculator, and that would be centimeters times centimeters would give you centimeters squared. So we've done that one there. We now want to work out that one, and that one I want to know what is the base, and there's nothing written in it. Well, 12, but 12 is for all of this, so I don't want all of that, I just want that bit, see? So the bottom down here would also be 8, so the base would be 8, and I don't need the height. Now notice we have 2 numbers, this 18, but this 18 only goes from the top to that bit there, and I want the full height, and the full height is 20, so I'm going to use 20. Once again, you can put it into your calculator. Sorry, you can't see what I've done. Put it into your calculator, or you can just, if you know your times tables, you can do it. So 2 lots of 8 is 16 times by 10, and so in this case we would have, but if you don't trust me, you can do 8 times 20 to just check that it does give you, oh, made a mistake there, 8 times, oh, I pressed 8 times 20 there, yeah, I've done a plus. Now this area we calculated was 8, and this area was 160, but we want the area for all of it together, so I'm going to add these 2 together, and when you add them together you will get 168. But if I just write that, I won't get my full marks, because they want us to put the units in, and the units is going to be centimeters squared. Make it nice and clear that those are your units. So we're now on to question 9, and when we move on to question 9, you notice that we're actually now on to section B, and section B are the slightly longer questions that are also related. And here we have Rory. He works at a restaurant. 1 week the restaurant runs a special offer on a Wednesday to Saturday. The table shows the income. Income is how much money comes in from the sales of drinks for the 4 days, and we have 4 days and how much. And they're asking us on the grid below, draw the information for these drinks. Now what we need to do is we need to find what's the biggest number that we need to fit in, and the biggest number is 1,400. So I need to see if I can fit it in. So if I started counting from the bottom and I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you see we wouldn't get enough because I only get 10. So perhaps we could go up in hundreds. 0, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. No, that doesn't work. So perhaps we can work in 200s. 0, 200, 400, 600, 800, 1,000, 1,200, 1,400. So that will work. That means they'll fit in. Okay. So we're going to draw a diagram. Now they don't say which diagram they want, so I'm going to do a bar chart. We need to fit in 4 things: Wednesday to Thursday, Friday and Saturday. So I need to make sure there's enough space for 4 bars. Okay. So I am going to put on the bottom here my axis. So I'm going to go along here, and I'm going to go along, and I know it's not very clear, but hopefully you'll see it. There's that one. And we said we're going to start at 0 and then we're going to go up in 200s. Okay, so then the next one here would be 400, the next one there would be 600, the next one there would be 800, the next one there would be 1,000, the next one there would be 1,200, the next one would be 1,400, which is where we want to get to. You could write some more in if you wanted to, but there's no point in wasting any more time. Now what were these numbers? Those numbers were the income from drinks, and it's in pounds. Okay, so this is the income from drinks and it's in pounds. Okay, so I label it there so that anybody that sees this can see that it's in pounds and that it's income from drinks. So now we can decide, and the first one we're going to do is Wednesday, 800. So I'm going to start now. Remember, when you do your bars, they need to be equally spaced and equal size. So I'm going to make quite fat ones. So I'm going to make my bars 2 boxes along, and that is going to be for Wednesday. Okay, now it has to go up to 800 because Wednesday had 800. So I now will go up. So if I do that, my bar will go all the way up to 800, which is there. Okay, make the line nice and visible, and then I'm going to make my bar will be, you could make your bars narrower, nothing wrong with that, it's just so that there will be my bar for Wednesday. Okay, so I left here a gap of 1 or 5 little boxes, or 1 big jump, so I'm going to leave another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to start there, and then I'm going to have 5 boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, another 5 boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that this gap matches that gap. Now we move to the next day, and the next day is 1,000 for Thursday. So this is Thursday, and it will go up to 1,000, and you can see 1,000 is there. So I need to make sure I go all the way up to 1,000. You always want to use a ruler for these type of things, and drawing graphs can take a long time, so sometimes it's better to leave these questions till last, and so if you have time, come back to it. If you don't have time, then you've not wasted time on it, and you've got more marks by doing the other questions. Okay, then again I'm going to leave 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2, and then the next day is going to be Friday. And Friday goes up to 1,400, so I need to make sure I can get all the way up to 1,400, which is up there, and that's going all the way up there, 1,400, and once again make it a bit clear that that's my bar. And then we're on to the last one, which is 700. I'm going to leave a space and then go 5 and another 5 to there, and that is going to be my Saturday, and that goes up to 700. Now notice that's going to be a bit more tricky because I have here 600, there's 800, so 700 is going to be bang in the middle. So if I have one square, two squares going up, one square, two squares going down, so 700 will be bang in the middle of that line. So when I take this up, it will have to go as high. Now make sure that it's straight and flat. Okay, it will have to go to about that point now. So when I do this, we'll have to go to that point there. Okay, and let's draw the bar. And so that there will be the 700. Okay, so remember, gaps were equal and the size of the bars were equal, the heights were equal, and then I just need to write in here that this is the days. Excellent, and there's a title up here, 4 marks. Brilliant. So now we're moving on to 9b, and 9b says here's a table, and this time it's the income from food. So this is how much money comes in from the food. And Rory says that in total the income from food was more than 3 times, so what does that make you think? 3 times the income of drinks. So we're going to have to find what the income for drinks was, we're going to have to find what the income for food was, what the total for this one, total for that one, and then we're going to compare it to see if this is true. So to do that, we're going to work out the total income from food. It's a calculator one, so you can add them up, you can put them into your calculator, or you can add them here. But we have 2,100 plus 2,800 plus 3,900 plus 3,500. Put them into your calculator, as I have done there, and we end up with an answer which says 12300, 12,300. So that's going to be 12,300. So I better tell them that the income from food was 12,300 pounds. Okay. Now we need to find the income from drinks. You're thinking, where is it? Well, it was on the previous page. Here we have. So if we were to work out the income from drinks, we'd need to add those together, and we'd have 800 plus 1,000 plus 1,400 plus 700. Now the nice thing on these calculators, you can actually see what you've typed in to make sure you've not made a mistake. Add them together, and that's 3,900. So the income from drinks came out to 3,900. What they're telling us is that the income from food is more than 3 times the income from drinks. So I'm going to take my income from drinks, I'm going to multiply it by 3. So we had 3,900 times 3. When you do that, you get an answer which is 11,700. And what he said is that the income from food was more than 3 times this income, and it's true. Is he correct? Yes, because 12,300 is more than 11,700. There's your 5 marks. Doesn't seem that much working, but remember, you've done your addition here, you also did your addition here, but you actually showed your workings, your results and your workings here, so it's actually quite a nice question for 5 marks. Let's move on to 9C. Now question 9C is a pie chart, and they're telling us that the income from food comes from starters, mains and desserts, and you can see that more of the money comes in from mains, then desserts, and starters is where least or the smallest amount of money comes from. Pie chart shows this information. In total, Rory wants 1/3 of the income from food to come from starters and desserts. Has this happened during the special offer? You must show your working, so we need to show what calculation we're doing. So we want to check if this is 1/3 of the full chart, okay? So if you remember, in a full circle you have 360 degrees, and we want to work out 1/3 of it. So we want to work out 1/3 of 360. So we're going to have 1/3, okay, times 360. And so that's the angle that it should equal if it is a third, 120. So that's the angle we want. Okay, that's what it needs to be if that is what happened. Okay, so now you have a look at your, sorry about that, because we'll need a protractor, because the only way to check if this angle is 120 is to measure it. Now if you have a small protractor you'll be fine, but because I have a large protractor I'm just going to make my lines a bit longer so that I can actually measure it. And the reason I'm doing this bit is, remember, they want dessert and starters together. Remember, that's what it said here, coming from starters and desserts. So I want to measure the angle here and to see if that is 120, and if it is, then yes, it's happened. If it isn't, then it hasn't happened. Okay, now to do that you might want to turn your piece of paper around, you might not, and you need to align the center of your protractor with the center of the circle, and then you need to align the line on your protractor with the line here. Okay, so you put that over the center, see the dot, the center, and then I'm trying to get this line here to match the line below, and you can see it's not quite there, so we're going to turn it. Nope, that's getting further away, so we're going to turn it in the other direction. Okay, and you can see that we've got it. This line is now on top. Oh, I moved it on top of the line below. So we're going to start counting from 0. We're going to go all the way counting up until we get to the line that I've drawn up there. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, and 120 would actually come there. Okay, so notice it wasn't. The angle that we had was smaller than the angle we wanted. Now we could actually have measured it, so I don't know why I didn't do that at the time. I should have actually measured it to see what the actual angle was, so I can compare it. You don't, oh, it's trying to get it to match. Yeah, no, that still doesn't match. It can take a little bit of time to get this quite right. Okay, that's roughly there. So what do we have? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110. And if you look carefully, that's 110, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's about 114 or 115. Okay, so the angle when you measure it comes out to 114, or you might have measured it to 115. Okay, which is not 120. So has it happened? No, it hasn't happened, because the angle he wanted was 120 and the angle that we're measuring is somewhere between 114 and 115, so no, it's not. So I'm going to write 115 there so they know what we're talking about. Okie dokie, let's move on. So we're now on to question 9D, and 9D says in the next week the total income in the restaurant is that. So that's the income, and here we have the costs. It costs every hour, it costs £9.35 every hour to pay for waiters, it costs £7.90, and then there's other costs, 3,700. And I want to work out the profit of the week. So this is where you need to remember the profit is the calculation from all the money that comes in from the income minus or take away all the money from the costs. So we already know that the income, now we want to work out the profit. We know the income is 14,800. How do I know that? Because they told me up there. Okay, so I've used that. And I'm going to take away all the costs, but I don't have a number for that. I just have a calculation here to do. Okay, so to do that, to work this out, I'm going to do 210 times £9.35. I'm going to do 570 times £7.90, and let's get the calculator to do that for us. So 210 times £9.35 gives an answer of, you can just about see it there, change it to a decimal, 1,963.5. 1,963.5. Now I made an error, because if I come out of this area here I will lose marks because they won't actually see that. So what I'm actually going to have to do is that to work out the costs, I'm just going to put it here, and the cost comes out to 1,963.5 plus. I'm going to work out the next one now, because that's not written there and that wouldn't count. At least I've written it here and they can see what I've done. So now I'll do the next one. The next one is 570 times 7.90, and when we do that we end up with an answer which is 4,503. Okay, so we're going to get an answer which is 4,503. I can just about squeeze it in here, 4,503. Okay, so they can see my workings, but they can also see that I've used the answer there. And then the other costs were 3,700. So I need to add all these together. 1,963.5 plus 4,503 plus 3,700. When I add that, it comes out to 10,166.5. 10,166.5. Okay, so that is the cost. So now for cost, so the income was this. For the cost, I can now write 10,166.5. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. And now we can do this calculation because we have a calculator that does it for us. 14,800 take away 10,166.5. Don't forget 0.5, and you will get an answer which comes out to 4,633.5. Now when I write my final answer down here, I'm actually going to write it as 4,633. Now the calculator says 0.5, but because we're working with money, I'm going to put a 0 in there to get my 5 marks. Excellent. Let's move on. So now we have question 10, and question 10 is a holiday to Spain, and they want to go in October. Here are 2 towns, and they have the amount of hours of sunshine or sunlight that they get in each of the years in each of the towns. And Joe says that they want to go to their town with a higher average, in other words mean, number of hours of sunlight. Use the information in the tables to give a reason why they should choose town A. So we're going to work out the mean of A, and to do that we're going to add the hours for A, and when we do that we end up with 199 plus 219 plus 198 plus 195 plus 214, and that gives a total of 10,025. So the total is going to be 1,025. But to work out a mean, you then divide it by how many? And we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to divide by 5. So I still have the number there, divide it by 5, and the answer comes to 205. 205 hours of sunshine. And so when I now work it out for the mean for B, we will repeat the same process, which is adding those together. And so when we do that, we're going to end up with 197 plus 207 plus 204 plus 196 plus 203. Add them together, and the total for that comes out to 1,007. So the total is 1,007, and because we're dividing by the same number, 5, because there are 5 things, you can see that since that one's bigger and you divide by 5, you're going to get a bigger answer, but we should do it anyway to show. So 1,007 divided by 5 gives an answer which is 201.4. 201.4. 205 is bigger than 201, so that means that there's more sunshine in A, and they want to go to the town that has the highest number. I want to go to the town with the highest number of hours. So in that case we can say town A has a higher average, and we can see here that you've done the calculation. Okay, let's move on to question 10b. And 10b once again has a table, and in this case they say these are the flights for a Friday and a Saturday, Friday and Saturdays, when you go UK flying to Spain and Spain flying back to the UK. what do they want us to do? They say Steve and Joe, 2 people, want to fly from Spain to Spain on a Friday. So if they're going to Spain on a Friday, it means that this information here is just no good, because that's that information. Sorry, let me bring it down so you can see. Since they say they want to fly to Spain on a Friday, going to Spain, we only want this one. That's no use, so I've crossed it off. And they want to fly back to the UK the next Friday. So they want to come back to the UK the next Friday. So once again, I'm going to scratch off all the Saturdays. It just makes it less stuff to look at, and so less likely to make mistakes. What is the cheapest possible total cost for the 2 flights? Give the date of each flight and the total cost for Joe and Steve for 4 marks. So the thing to be careful is that if they go on the Friday, where is it? Here we are. If they go on a Friday, they're coming in the next Friday. Okay? So in other words, if they fly out on the 4th, they cannot come back on the 4th, because it would be the next one. So if they go out on the 4th, they'll be coming back on the 11th. If they go out on the 11th, they'll be coming back on the 18th. If they're going out on the 18th, they'll be coming out back on the 25th. So there's no way they can use that one, because if you go on the 4th, they'd be coming back on the 11th, and there's no way that they could basically, that would go there, that will go there, that will go there. So there's no way that they could go out on the 25th, because they'd be coming back this afterwards, and there's no information there. So now we have to compare here, and we have to compare those. So 82 with 7 and 76 compared to 72 and 82 and 102 and 99. Now here you can see that 102 is the highest option on this side, and if you were to choose this one, you'd be coming on back on that one, and that's also the highest one. So that I think is no good. So it's between these ones. This looks like it's the cheapest, so if we went out on October 11th, we'd come back here. So one option is to go out on that day and come back on that one. And the other option would be go out on this one and come back on that one. But if you notice, that would be, I'm going to use a box to show those ones. They both have an 82, so to find the cheapest, we'd compare these, and basically that's the cheapest. So in this case, the cheapest thing to do is to go out on October the 11th, and that will cost £72 for one person, plus another £72 for the other person, because there are 2 people. And then you'd come back, and they'd come back or return on the October the 18th, and that would cost £82 for one person and £82 for the second person. Sorry about that, I should have written it there so you can see. So we're going out on October the 11th, we're coming back on October the 18th, which is 1 week later. If we go out on October the 11th, it costs £72, but there's 2 people, so we need 2 of them. And if we come back on October the 18th, there's 2, lots of 82, and because we have a calculator and we want to work out the total cost, it'd be that plus that plus that plus that. Okay, so this one here would come, if you put it in a calculator, it comes out to 144, and if you do this one, it will come out to 164, but we want the total cost. So the total cost is when you add these 2 together. So we're going to have 144 plus 164 to get 308. But you could have just done 72 plus 72 plus 82 plus 82, and you would have got 308. And because it's money, I'm going to put the pound sign in so they know. Okay, so they want to know which flight, and we've said the date of the flights, and we've also said the total cost for 4 marks. Excellent. So now we're on to the last part of this question 10, and they tell us that if your luggage weighs 15 kilograms, you will pay £17.99. You pay extra for each extra kilogram, but they haven't told us how much. But they did tell us that Joe's luggage weighs 19 kilograms and she paid £23.99. So we're going to use that to find out how much each of these extra kilograms cost, and then we'll use that to find out how much Steve will pay for his luggage. So first of all, we know that the first 15 kilograms costs £17.99. Okay, but we're going to look at Joe's stuff here. Okay, and we know that Joe had 19 kilograms. So if you think about it, okay, how many more kilograms does she take? Okay, because she's basically got 19 kilograms, and so the question is, how much more is it? So basically I can do, to find the difference, 19 take away 15 tells me that she had 4 kilograms more. So those 4 kilograms, how much do they cost? Well, that is how much it costs for everything. So if I take away the 15 kilograms, which cost £17.99, we will know how much it was for those 4 kilograms. So £23.99, take away £17.99, leaves us with £6. So it cost £6 for those 4 kilograms. Okay. Can you see what we did? We knew that 15 kilograms cost that much, but she paid more money. So we take a bit away, the bit we know, we take away the 15 to find out that she had extra 4 kilograms, and we take away from what she paid, the £17.99, to see that she paid an extra £6 on top of that price. Why did that help me? Well, in Steve's case, if we're looking at Steve, he has 22 kilos, so he is going to have 15 kilograms that he will pay £17.99 for. But then if he has 15 here and he's taking 22 take away 15 leaves you with 7 extra kilograms, so he's actually going to be taking 7 kilograms more, and we want to know how much it costs for that, because then we can add these together to get the total cost. Okay. Now to do that, it'd be good to know how much it costs for one of these kilograms. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to find the price of 1 kilogram. How do I do that? Well, here I divide by 4, because 4 divided by 4 gives me 1, and I will do it on this side also. We have 6 divided by 4 gives us a fraction, which is actually 1.5. In other words, £1.50. Could make that one a bit bigger. So every kilogram costs an extra £1.50. Okay, so if I have 7 kilograms, each of those kilograms will cost £1.50, and so I can do that, 7 times £1.50, which comes out to a fraction again, but change it, £10.50. So now I know that he's going to pay that, I know he's going to pay that, if we add them together we'll get the total. So if we add them together, £17.99 plus another £10.50, we can put that into your calculator, £17.99 plus £10.05. When we add it all, it gives us a fraction again, change it to a decimal, £28.49. £28.49. Okay, which makes sense, because if the luggage is more than 19, it's going to be more than that, and it was more than that. Brilliant, 4 marks. We are now on to question 11, and question 11 is about a trip to a concert. Ian is going to a concert. He decides to drive to the concert and back, so there and back. The concert starts at 7:15. It will take him an hour and a half to drive to the concert. He wants to arrive at least 10 minutes before the concert starts. What is the latest time he should leave the home? So we're going to work backwards, because he wants to get there at 7:15 p.m. Okay, and they tell us that it will take an hour and a half to get there. He wants to arrive 10 minutes before the concert. So if he wants to arrive 10 minutes before, we need to be 10 minutes earlier. And so if you have 7:15 and you take 10 minutes away from that, we're going to get 15 take away 10, which is 5. So that would have been 7:05 p.m. So we've done the arriving 10 minutes earlier. But we now need to work out the hour and a half. So that's the same as 1 hour and 30 minutes, because half an hour is 30 minutes. Okay. So I'm going to do 1 hour earlier. So if we go 1 hour earlier, 1 hour. So 1 hour earlier than 7:05 would be 6:05 p.m. So I've done the hour. Now half an hour, well, we want to be half an hour earlier. So here I'd take 5 away, and then I'd have to take another 25 away to get to 30. Okay, so we want to go another half an hour earlier, 30 minutes earlier. Or you can count, and if you do that, you'll find out that you're actually going to get there at 5:35. Because if you add 30 plus 30, it's going to give 60, which is an hour, which gets us to 6, and then there's 5 left over, which is a 5 there. Okay, so what's the latest time he can leave? The latest time he can leave is 5:35 p.m. Or if you want to use the 24-hour clock, you would write 17:35. If you want to, you can put the 2 dots in there, it's up to you. Okay, but if you don't do that, you have to put PM to show it's in the afternoon. Okay, 11B. 11B has a dial showing how much fuel there is. They tell us that the tank in Ian's car can hold 11.6 gallons. So when it's full, when it's over here and it's full, it would carry 11.6 gallons. And obviously when it's empty, it carries 0 gallons. It'd be empty, it'd have nothing. Sorry, let me bring this down so you can see it. My apologies. Okay, so when it's full, it would have 11.6 gallons, and when it's empty, it'd have nothing. They tell us that his car travels 46 miles for every gallon. So if he has 1 gallon, he can go that far. The concert is 70.3 miles from his home. Is there enough petrol in the car, to get to the concert and back? In other words, he has to travel there and back. So the total distance he needs to travel, when you add those together, will be 140.6 miles. Now, as I said, you can use your calculator to do that. Okay. Now, the question is, how much petrol does he actually have? Can he do that? And you notice that the arrow here is pointing there. And I don't know how much fuel is there, but we can work it out, because if we look, this in the middle here is half. So this part here would be half. But this here is dividing it into 4. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 bits. So this would be 1/4 of the full amount. So I want to work out 1/4 of the 11 gallons when it's full, and 1/4 of 11.6 turns out to be 2.9. So that's how many gallons he has. That's how much he has. Okay. If you want to do it a different way, when you're on this dial, you could have worked out half of 11.6 to work out that, and then you can halve it again, and then you'd get here 2.9. Okay. Right. Now they tell me that for 1 gallon you can do 46 miles. So he can do for every gallon 46 miles, but he doesn't have 1 gallon, he has 2.9 gallons. So when you multiply that together, 46 times 2.9, turns out that it can travel 133.4 miles. So that's how far he can go. And if we look at that, okay, is there enough petrol in the car to go to concert and back? This is how far he can travel. This is how far he needs to travel. And so the answer is no, he's going to run out of fuel. He doesn't have enough. No, because what he has is 133.4 gallons. Sorry, miles. That's how far he can drive. Okay. But needs to drive 140.6 miles. So clearly can't do it. Okay. Excellent. So now we're on to 11C, and they tell us here are the price for some food and drinks in the concert. Ian has a student discount card which will give him 15% discount on the food and drink. Ian has £6.20. Does he have enough money to buy a hot dog? crisps and cola. Okay, so we're going to have to add up to see how much it is. We need to show the workings. So the hot dog was £3.95 plus, now notice this is in pounds and this is in pence, so I'm going to change that to pence. The crisps is 90p and the cola is £2.35. Expensive cola, so that's how much it's going to cost now. So we have £3.95 plus 0.90 for the pence of the crisp plus £2.35, and so he pays, or would pay, £7.20. Okay. Which at that point he doesn't have enough, but there is a discount, so we're going to work out the discount, and the discount is 15% of the full price. So when we do that, we'll have 15 of the full price, and the full price was £7.20, and so that comes out to £1.08, £1.08. So that, sorry about that, caught my cuff. So that's how much is the discount. So how much will he pay? He would have cost £7.20, but he has a discount, so he would pay £7.20, take away £1.08, and he ends up paying £6.12. And the question is, does he have enough? If that's what it costs and he's got £6.20, then yes, he has enough. Because if you think about it, he'll actually get some change, because 6.20 is more than 6.12, or you could say he's getting 8 pence back in change. Lovely, we're nearly there. You're now on to question 12, and question 12 will take us right to the end. So we have question 12, so let's have a little look. Now this is actually quite nice, because they've given us for question 12a some steps, so we need to follow these steps to do this calculation. Okay, we have two people, Cho and Helen. Cho has a salary per year, Helen, they tell us the salary per month. How much more money does Cho pay in tax compared to Helen each month? So that tells me we're working in months. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is, for Cho, I'm going to have to take her salary, which is for a year, and I'm going to split it into 12 to find out how much she gets paid in 1 month. 24,000 divided by 12 means she's paid £2,000 every month. Okay, so now we're going to do a calculation for Cho, and the first step says monthly salary, take away this. So her calculation will be 2,000 take away 987.5. So when we do that, 2,000 take away 987.5, just checking the numbers are correct, and we end up with 1,012.5. Okay, 1,012.5. So we've done the first step. The second step is, whatever your answer is, and here's the answer, you take that answer and you then divide it by 5. And when I take that answer and I divide by 5, I end up with 202.5. 202.5. Okay, so that's the answer for Cho. Sorry, I keep getting it caught on my. Okay, but we're going to do the same thing for Helen. And when we do the same one for Helen, we will take her monthly salary, and the monthly salary was 1,720. We're going to take away 987.5, which will give us 720, take away 987.5, which comes out to 732.5. Whatever the answer is, you then have to divide by 5. So 732.5 divided by 5. So divide your answer by 5, and we get 146.5. 146.5, and that is the answer for Helen. But they didn't say how much is it for Cho and how much is it for Helen. They said how much more income tax does Cho get compared to Helen. So we're going to have to do this one minus this one. So I'm going to do the calculation down here and then I'm going to write the answer there. So the final step is 202.5, take away 146.5. So we put in 202.5 minus 146.5, and the answer comes out to 56. So the answer here is 56, and I'm going to write it here so they don't. I'm just going to put and 0 pence. Beautiful. So we're now on to question B, and B says David has a net monthly income of that much. From this, his expenses are that, and that. He saves 2/3 of the money that he has left. How much will he save in a year? So remember, this is what's happening in a month, but they want it for a year. And then we're going to round it to the nearest pound. So first we're going to find out how much he spends on his expenses. So we're going to basically add all these together. And when you add all those together, you're going to get 500 plus 420 plus 340, and that's how much he spends. I made a mistake. There we are. 500, 420, 340, which is 1,260. That's how much he spends on expenses. But we want to know how much was left, and so he started with a monthly salary of 1,623.48. He spends 1,260, and so what's left over will be 1,623.48. Take away 1,260, and so he's left with 363.48. 363.48. That's how much money is basically left. But they tell us that he saves 2/3. So 2/3 of 363.48. So we're going to say 2/3 of 363.48. And it comes out to 242 with 32 pence. 242 with 32 pence. Okay. That's how much he saves. He saves every month. But the question was not how much do you save every month, the question is how much do you save in a year. So we're going to have to take that savings for that month and multiply it by 12 because there are 12 months in a year. And we end up with an answer that is 2,907 with 84 pence. 2,907 with 84 pence. And that's how much he saves. And you think, oh, I've finished, because that's what he saves in a year. But the last bit says round it to the nearest pound. And so looking at this, the nearest pound, if that's 8, that will round up to 8 here, because plus 1, 7 plus 1 becomes 8. So the nearest pound, we would write down here 2,908. And that's your final answer. Excellent. You've reached the end of the paper. So congratulations, have a nice time, and goodbye for now.